loves. I'm Miss Peppermint, and I'm here with some of my fierce, fabulous friends for Billboard Spillin the Tea. And today we're going to talk about race and drag.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Bob, in June, you tweeted that no black queens except for RuPaul have over 1 million followers. And you said that it's not the show, it's the fandom. So how do we fix that?
You know, that I don't know that I have the answer on how to fix racism. I mean,
Let me get my pen.
Could you imagine if I was the one, and like if all these people before me, like Gandhi, and okay, and it's like Bob's the drag
Well, why
queen.
can't you be?
That's the answer.
Well, I wish that I could. You know, I think that the answer to maybe fixing racism is acknowledging racism. People saying I'm not racist drives me crazy. First of all, and I'm about to get the comment section about to get lit the fuck up. All white people are racist, period, point blank, end of story. You cannot be white and not racist. It's not possible, because if you are born in this country, in this America, I'm all white Americans. I don't live in Australia, but they racist too. If you don't be in Australia, they are nasty. If you are white and you're raised in America, you are raised through TV, through books, through every single thing to have racial bias toward white people and against people of color. White folks do not have to open up their history books and see their people being hanged. In my history books in school—
I think it's hung.
Hanged, it's hanged.
Okay.
No, it's hanged. Hung is...
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Damn, here you go,
Hung
Dan.
is
That wasn't in my book. Girl.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Hung is on the Grinder profile. Like I said, like that, in the idea of saying you being racist does not make you a bad person. It makes you a person.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are a product of your
Amen.
surroundings. You're a product of a country that was made through racism. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Reparations for black people will never happen. We don't even have enough money to pay back the people that we owe money to, let alone pay back black folks for what they made for this country. And there's a lot of white folks being like, but I didn't do that. But that was hundreds of years ago. First of all, it wasn't 100 years ago. It was about 155 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. And then on top of that, you are still directly benefiting from all the racism that happened from when we were first brought here. That's why black folks don't trust water in the first place. You know, I got invited to do a cruise. They were like, "You want to do a cruise?" I was like, "Well, last time black folks got offered a free cruise, shit got a little funny, so I'm not doing it." So that is why, and everything leading up to housing discrimination, workplace discrimination, and people online are probably favoring people that they resemble, favoring people they see themselves in. So, and there are a lot of white people. So white folks are following the white folks. So that is why they get all of the followers sometimes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So what is the solution to that? Somehow. You said acknowledging it.
And I think acknowledge and don't lead in with, well, I'm not racist. Instead, stand back, because you know what? I have sexist qualities in me because I was raised that way. Like, I have found myself on the road and I'll see a woman doing something, and then my gut instinct is, help that lady do that thing because she can't possibly do it herself. And that is a sexist ideology, but I don't even realize it in my head. I'm like, I better grab that bag for that little gal. Because I was raised in Columbus, Georgia. I was raised in Phoenix City, Alabama, and I was raised in Corinth, Mississippi.
That what?
That little gal. So my immediate reaction is, I need to help this woman because there's no way she could help herself. And I have to check myself in that moment and be like, what you're doing is sexist.
Yeah.
Very well said. Jiggly
So on that
and Gia,
matter,
what
sir,
are-
I'm going to pick up your bag for you. Gal.
I'm that girl that please, like I'm so stupid like that, but I'm like, I always play the damsel in distress. Like,
bitch,
oh my God,
please,
my bag's
open up that
But
door.
as a
Well, I
woman,
was gonna ask-
that is your right to do that as a woman, but it's not a man's right to place that on you, to make you a damsel in distress. If you want to be a damsel in distress, as a woman, you can do that, but I can't make you that against your will.
What about, so a lot of people get, tokenized and kind of put into a box. As Asian queens, what have you experienced? Have you experienced any racism in as far as drag goes?
Honestly, 110% honest, I feel in my career, in my life, I honestly have never felt or had an experience where I felt like I was discriminated against because I was Asian. I think maybe it was always either like a gay thing or maybe now like a transgender thing, but never Asian. One thing that is a little bit more relevant though, and I don't know if it's racism, but like, as you guys know, I speak fluent Spanish and I'm very influenced by Latin culture. I just came out with a song, La China Más Latina, available on iTunes. And, I got a lot of feedback from people that were like, well, girl, like, why is she trying to be Latina? Like, why is she trying to be something that she's not? And it just kind of made me feel like, well, why can't I be that? Like, I've worked so hard on accepting myself as, a Japanese American trans woman that, yes, proudly speaks Spanish, obviously not trying to be anything, but just trying to be myself. And like, why is that a problem?
I don't think they're saying that you can't embrace. I think if people think you're trying to be Latin, you can't be Latin because you're not Latin.
Exactly.
But you can embrace Latin culture.
Correct.
Yeah, and I personally, and there's also, people need to understand there's a big difference between there's appropriation, there's appreciation, and there's assimilation.
Yes.
And they are not the same thing.
Yes.
Appropriation is when you take someone else's culture and you pawn it off as your own. Appreciation is when you appreciate what other cultures have, and assimilation is when a smaller culture assimilates to what a larger culture is doing because they have to survive.
Yes.
It's like code switching. You know what I mean?
Why do you think that many of the Black queens don't have as much of a following? I mean, you think about drag and you think that we can kind of do whatever we want, and especially, if you've gotten this bigger platform and you're on a show like Drag Race, drag is a lot of times about being a renegade and kind of saying and doing what you want. But I found myself as a Black queen, not only on Drag Race, but before that, being really held into a really tight lane by the white folks that would come to the show. And I felt like there was a little bit of, what they would accept from me wasn't necessarily what I wanted to present. And I don't know if this is kind of how you felt with La China Más Latina, but for me, like, people wanted to they only wanted to see this.
Right.
That's all they wanted. They want this all day long. There couldn't be any other, for lack of a better word, shade or color to what I was trying to, portray.
Yeah.
And yes, I got all that in me, but there's so much more. And I think that's part of the issue with race, is that people will accept a Black queen, but only on their terms.
Yeah.
Correct.
And, not in any other way that challenges what a Black queen or an Asian queen or a Latin queen could do, or a multiracial
And what
queen
their idea of a Black or Asian queen
could
is.
be. Yeah.
For me, like when I came out with my album, it was just like it's full hip hop, but
Thought process available
on iTunes.
Process, THOT. Process.
But like
O.T.
a lot of people were questioning why hip hop, or I was like, because this is the music I grew up loving.
Right,
And this is
between
what I
hood.
wanted to do.
She Banji.
And that's
Yeah.
like, I grew up from Queens, New York, and the music that I grew up listening to is LL Cool J, Missy Elliott, MC Lyte. That's the stuff I liked. So that's the music I'm going to present. And then I remember one time there's a picture I posted of me in braids. And my Instagram was just like, you're culturally appropriating. Da, 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 da. I was like, actually, I didn't know how to respond, so I just kind of left it alone. But I'm like, I'm just trying to live my Janet Jackson poetic justice moment.
I would also love to go
You
back and
know
see how many of those folks are white folks being like, you're cultural
Hello.
appropriating.
Basically.
And they go to Miami and get braided up, bitch, and it's
Girl,
cute.
Here's the tea is that, because it happens to me a lot, because I'm biracial, and a lot of times it's usually white people who are trying to be an ally of race, and what happens is that they speak over people of color, and it's like, if I see you coming up with a hip-hop album, I'm like, work, good for you. But sometimes they'll be like, but you're not Black. And it's like, this is not your conversation to have. And
Like, y'all didn't have a problem when Eminem came out with an album. Why are you bothering me?
But people are always trying to find out why Black folks will choose to embrace this person and not. They're like, well, why do they like Macklemore but not like Iggy Azalea? And like, because it's our business and we decide who we like.
Exactly.
We don't like that bitch. It's because I don't like her. That's why. That's why. Because I said I don't like her. What's next? Next question.
also,
What were you going to finish?
yeah, but like another thing that happens to me is people assign race. They assign a race to me. They assume your race, and then they say, you're this. And you're like, no, I'm this. No, you're this.
And
What
then
do
they
most
expect
people
you to
think
act
you
that
are?
They
way.
expect you to like say, yes, I'm this.
But what is acting that? I hate when people say that
That's
to
the
me.
whole thing.
Like,
Girl, I used to be beat
that's like
up
saying
by
you're
the white
pretty for an
kids
Asian girl.
'cause
I hate
am
that.
not, because, you're, here's this Black kid. And then the Black kids would ostracize me and tell me that I was talking white. And I never found a place that I could really fit in, because I wasn't, you know, what other people wanted me to be.
Especially being a black
you know?
theater kid, girl.
Oh, God,
my
honey.
God.
Where's
my
your
God.
people?
Honey,
Where
my
your
tribe?
people?
Where's my
Where your
tribe?
tribe?
Yeah, and I think there is something about it. I will say this because there's a part of me that really embraces when someone's like act black. Because you know what, I don't like the idea of saying that someone's acting black and that happen to be derogatory. Because I want to act black. I want to be proud of acting black. Only black people, not only black people, in my experience, like black people are taught to be ashamed of a lot of their blackness. Whereas you would never see a Japanese person afraid to eat sushi in public. You would never see a Mexican afraid to eat a fucking burrito. But black folks will look left, right, up, and down for eating fried chicken in the middle of the fucking room. You know what?
It's
Fried
true.
chicken is a part of my culture.
And it's good.
And it's good. How
Yes.
in the world did white people make black people feel ashamed to eat watermelon, which is a perfectly fucking healthy
we know
snack,
how.
when y'all white asses eating fucking
know
high
how.
yogurt and fucking mashed potatoes covered in butter. But I have to be ashamed of what I want to eat. Like, how were black people taught to be ashamed of their names, ashamed of their food,
Ashamed of their hair.
hair?
And I didn't want to mention this earlier. That's why black people and black women, I'm guessing, are the people who are spending so much money on our hair care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we've been taught that the hair that grows out of our head naturally is not acceptable. It's not professional. It's not, you know, it's not pretty. It's
That's
not sexy.
assimilation.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the beauty standard in the world right now is easier, more easily
close.
accessible by white people because the beauty standard is almost modeled after white people. It's not almost, it is modeled after like Anglo-Saxon features. So, you know, a lot of other cultures have to go through like measures and lengths to be considered beautiful.
We're slowly inching away from that. I got into it, and I have a thing where I can't not call stuff out. I can't remember what town I was in. I can't even remember. But this guy walked up to me, he goes, Bob, I just really love you on the show. You know, you really just speak English so well. And I said, well, it is my first and only language. And, you know, I'm
Interesting.
American, and this is where I was born and raised, so what other language would I speak? He goes, no, it's just that, like, you really speak, like, you just have a great... And I was like, what are you saying? Because, like, that's not a compliment you give white people. You don't go to white people and say, you speak English well. To a person who was born and raised in America, you would not go to a white person and say, you really got a grasp on the English language. Like, yeah, well, it's everywhere I look, so why the fuck wouldn't I have a grasp on the English
That's
language?
so backhanded.
Sahara was the one who corrected me one time because I told her, I was like, damn, girl, you sound real white. Big mistake. Sahara was just like, no. I just speak correctly. Your ass is a little hood rat, that's why. I was like,
But also, on the other hand, there is nothing wrong with not speaking proper English. The way you talk is the way you talk. If you are from, you know, it's really funny, like how a Texas businessman can say howdy and this, that, and the other. And he's still considered professional. He can wear a big ass Texas hat and a suit and be like, well, y'all know around here we get a lot of this, that, and the other. But if a black person walk in and be like, man, y'all niggas is crazy up in this piece. It's just a motherfucking business, son. Everyone's like, you're not a business person. But everyone else can embrace their culture and speak the way they do. But when marginalized people do it, it's like, wow, you really shouldn't speak that way in a professional setting.
Well, people have, for some reason, linked like speaking AAVE, African American Vernacular English, to being uneducated. And the fact of the matter is that AAVE was something that has like kind of like built up after years of oppression, segregation, like having to go, you know, be educated in different places, like, you know, and it's kind of like, that is recent. That's like 50, 60 years ago. And here we are, you know, not everyone is going to speak the same. And it doesn't mean that one person is smarter than the other, because I know a lot of people who can flip between like a very proper way of speaking and a more colloquial way. And doesn't, you know, they're still smart. They're still speaking correctly.
Sometimes you have the code switch to make it.
Yes. That's assimilation.
Yeah. That's assimilation. You want to talk about assimilation? Let's talk about assimilation.